What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about what the hell do you use? What kind of plugins do you use, Zion? It's a pretty bad title, but we're going to go with that. This is a little bit vague lesson today. I'm basically going to be just showing you just a quick example of a bunch of plugins that I use. Not every plugin, but a lot of the plugins. If you don't know what a plugin is, it's basically a third-party either tool or audio effect or instrument that you can actually attach to your DAW, such as Ableton Live that I use. But these also work in other DAWs. You've got to make sure, of course, with the manufacturer, but they work for and Logic and Pro Tools and Reaper and Cakewalk and Fruity Loops and GarageBand. A lot of the different DAWs will use will allow third-party plugins. So without further ado, let's jump into this and I'll show you. Okay, right off the bat, you're going to see that I only use AU plugins, audio unit plugins. There's different types, okay? There's VST, there's audio units, and there's a couple other ones. I have access to VST and audio units, but I only use audio units. I've got that turned on. And if you want to know how to install those, you're going to have to actually look into the Ableton Live manual. It's not hard at all. You just got to keep things organized. The key to this is keeping things organized, and it's hard to do, especially when you have as many plugins as I do. Now, I want to make a note here. Every plugin you see here is something that I purchased legally. I bought all these plugins, and it took me years. It's just not, they're not cheap, and some of them are cheap, but not all of them. Some of them are very expensive, but I bought all of these, and I have a license to all of them. So just want to put that out there. I recommend doing that because you're going to get all the support you need from that company, and it's the legal thing to do. It's against the law to steal stuff, and it supports those manufacturers. We got to support each other. All right, so jumping in, I automatically have Apple's AU plugins that come inside of my DAW, and it's because I have GarageBand somewhere on this computer, and so when I just installed Live, it just saw those and it pulled them in. I never use those, but they're not bad. Next, let's jump over to Celemony. Celemony is so all of these plugins are split up by company, and then the product is underneath it. So Celemony is the product company. Melodyne is the actual product. I use Melodyne on a lot of stuff. It is my go-to Autotune program. And when I say Autotune program, I'm just talking about tuning and tweaking the timing and tuning of voices. So I use this a lot. Now, this is the editor version, and the reason why I use this editor version is because it's the only version that works in the 64-bit version of a DAW. If you want to use the Melodyne Studio version, which I also have, you have to actually use that in bridge mode in a 32-bit version of your DAW. So, bummer. I don't know why they don't have a 64-bit version of their studio program, but that is where they are. So if you want more help with that, I have a tutorial all about how to use Melodyne in the link that's going to pop on the screen right now. Moving on, I use a program called Sausage Fattener by Data Life. This is a great little program to create thickness. It uses compression, EQ, and limiting, and a little bit of distortion. It's kind of like a distressor, and it has a colorization to it. It's a very simple program, but it's very powerful, and a lot of EDM producers use this program, and I've seen it a lot in tutorials, so I went ahead and bought it, and it's been totally worth the money. Moving on. In Isotope, I have several programs. I had Nectar, which is a vocal tuning program. Now, I do not recommend the first version, but I do recommend their newer version, which is, I guess, what you'd get if you bought it now. The Nectar 2 is light years better than Nectar 1. Nectar 2, it split things up into a lot better categories. This is the second one here. This is their first version. Their second version is so much better. The auto-tuning is, if you're going to use auto-tuning in Nectar, it's so much better. The effects sound more realistic. The reverb is better. There's not as many options, but the options are way better, and it's more usable. I never really cared for Nectar 1. Just letting you know, Nectar 2 is light years better. So if you were disappointed with Nectar 1 after you bought it, go ahead and get Nectar 2 and upgrade it. It's worth the money. They also have great breath control. They've got a harmony section in there, which is phenomenal. You can create some really cool harmonies, thirds and fourths and stuff like that, depending on your mode. Next, I use Ozone. I have number 5 and number 6. Of course, I don't really use number 5 anymore. I've upgraded to Ozone 6. Ozone 6 is amazing. This is the tool that is going to make your stuff sound louder and fatter and bigger. Ozone is it's a mastering plugin, and I am not a mastering engineer, so I use this cautiously. When I'm actually making a really full, good mix, I don't master my own stuff. I leave this off of it and I send it to somebody. But if I'm making a demo, in doing self-mastering, I use this program. It is phenomenal, and everybody well, it's highly used in the industry. Let's just say that. Moving on, we have Native Instruments. Native Instruments does a ton of stuff. They're one of the grandfathers of plugins. They've been around for a long time, and there's a ton of programs and software that they sell, both audio and instruments, audio effects and instruments. Battery, of course, is one of the groundbreaking plugins for drums. It sounds phenomenal. Their stuff is killer. I highly recommend Battery 4. It is a great program, and the more you get to learn it, you can do all kinds of things. You can change the transients, the EQ, the volume envelopes, the ADSR, the pitch of every single effect, every little sound and nuance in this program. They've got tons of kits, tons of libraries. It is a great program, and you can build your own and customize your own. Highly recommend it if you need a good drum program. Next is, there's this thing called Driver. I don't use it very much, but it's there. It's just a quick, I think it was a free program. Gives some distortion and resonance to your sound. Contact 5, I'll come back to this, is basically a engine in which you can run other programs through it, as well as Reactor. So these two here are engines, and we'll come back to that. Massive is actually its own engine, but it's its own instrument as well. If you don't have Massive, you're going to want Massive, especially if you do synths, saw synths, leads, basses, anything electronic. Massive is so fun, and it's so cool, and it's intimidating by how many parameters you adjust, but if you get a couple tutorials, this thing just comes alive. It becomes an instrument that I highly lean on. Recommend it. So Reactor, I only have Reactor because I use a program called Razor, and Razor is a cool synth that's similar to Massive, but it uses something that I called additive synthesis, which is a little bit different from synthesizers like Omnisphere. You get a really different sound with Razor. It's a little more edgy and it's a little more current sounding, in my opinion. Personal opinion, but I think Razor is a very current sounding synth, especially when you can do additive synthesis, and I'll get into that some other time. Replica is just a delay program. I use this when I just want to make some delays, just a quick throw delay, especially like if on an auxiliary bus. I can use dotted or triplets or straight time or milliseconds. And yeah, I have a couple different modes I can to emulate a delay throw mode using an outboard delay. And then I, of course, have the mix and feedback knob and a little bit of modulation. Very quick and dirty, but it's a great program. Really like Replica. I use a lot, actually. Sonic Academy. I use their program called Nicky Romano. This is one of the most phenomenal kick drums that I'll get into sometime, but you can adjust the length of the kick drum, how much resonance. You can adjust the note on the fly. You can adjust the click and how much attack you want. There's tons of great presets in here. I use this for everything now. I love their kicks. They have so much more control now on the kick, and if you're doing EDM music or any kind of electronic music, you know how important it is to have a really good kick drum. Moving on, Spectrasonics. I use Omnisphere for everything. Omnisphere is so killer. Eric over at Spectrasonics just knocked this out of the park. Of course, they have a new version now. It's Omnisphere 2. I do not have it yet because I have not had time to actually dive into it. When I buy it, I want to have time to dive into it, and I do not have the time right now. But huge library. If you wanted to start with one synthesizer, just one, and your very first external instrument, your third-party plugin, I would recommend Omnisphere. It is phenomenal program, phenomenal. I use it. Every track every song I have has something in Omnisphere on it. Even if it's a mellow track, it doesn't have to be electronic. This is perfect for all kinds of genres. Also, I have the extended Trillion package, which is all the bass samples. There's huge bass libraries, both acoustic and electric, and they are simulated very well. Highly recommend this product. Can't say enough about them. Amazing. Moving on, Sugar, Bytes. I have their WoW program, their WoW 2, which is basically a filter program. It's to filter, make cutoffs and resonant sounds, as well as mouth and vowel sounds for a lot of your synths or anything you want to put it through. It's an amazing filter, gives a lot of creativity. I haven't used it all that much yet. I'm always a little bit leery of it because it's hard for me. I just haven't learned it as well as I should have. That's why I haven't used it a whole lot. But what I have seen does amazing things, and I know some great producers that use this and lean on it very heavily. So I highly recommend that as well. It's not that expensive. Waves, Waves has a billion plugins, and I don't use a lot of their other just basic stuff. I use a lot of effects that are just within Ableton Live that are my audio effects. You know, like compressors and delays and EQs and things like that. But every once in a while, I'll use a Waves plugin, especially on the reverb. I got the IRL, which is actually, it's a convolution reverb. If you don't know what that is, I have a whole video on it. And it is all about setting up reverb to that emulates, it's reverb that has been captured from rooms and halls and studios and awesome spaces and stages, and they capture that emulation and make algorithms out of it, and so you can pass your sound through it and it sounds amazing. It sounds very natural. Unfortunately, you don't have a lot of controls when you do that. It's a little bit more limited as opposed to like the reverb from if I grab what's called an IR1 reverb, which is basically their full-blown reverb. This is not convolution. This is you are creating the reverb, and this is what you'd find in most DAWs as well, but they have a lot more options in theirs. Great stuff. Waves makes phenomenal equipment in plugins. Moving on, I just bought a reverb from it's the Manny Mannequin reverb, and I really like the sounds of these reverbs. This was on sale for $29 a couple weeks ago, and I had to get it because it's just a great sounding reverb, and I'm going to start using that a lot on voices and guitars and things like that. It's a little bit quicker presets too. They have presets without having to throw in all the compression and a whole vocal line of effects like EQs and compressions before you go to your reverb. So it has all that built into it. Now, if you're wondering why there's 3 sessions of it, it's because this S means solo. It's like it's a solo or stereo track. M means mono to stereo, and M means just mono. So it just depends on how your track is set up and which reverb to use. I use the Maserati plugin every once in a while. I'm not crazy about this. This is a vocal plugin that has EQ, sensitivity, compression, treble, output, delays and reverbs and contours. It's just an all-in-one vocal plugin from Tony Maserati, who's an amazing producer. But either I haven't figured out how to use this plugin, or I'm just not feeling it. So I don't really recommend that one very much. One Knob Pumper is an incredible plugin. It's really cheap, and I use this on a lot of stuff just for ducking. If you're familiar with side chaining to like a kick drum, this basically does the same thing without having to go through the trouble of plugging in a kick drum and a compressor and side chaining it to it. So this is kind of an all-in-one. Love that stuff. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Come back next week, and I will continue this. And we're going to talk a lot about the plugins I use in Native Instruments Contact, and we're going to talk about Max for Live a little bit. Give me some suggestions and comments below. Please subscribe and hit that like button. And as always, stay frosty and keep writing. Later.